I'm so excited today, and we've already been singing and clapping with joy with the delightful Deborah Weed. Hey, Deborah.
Hey, Heather, how are you?
Good, good, good. So we are Zooming in together. And last time that we were together on air was back in the studio last year. And I had to look at it, it was back in April already for episode 24. And now we get to play again, and it's going to be episode 90. Can you believe it, Deborah?
I am so proud of you, Heather, for all that you do. I mean, you are pretty amazing. Yes, 90 stories that really make a difference in people's lives.
Thank you so much. So, Deborah is the creator, founder of so many things, but her initial thing is the Self Worth Initiative. And from that, she helps people just guide their way into what is self worth and being their best selves. And she's an author, an artist, but she's an author of amazing children's books. And I will actually say, they're from 0 to 100. So it's for the child of all of us. So, Deborah, again, thank you so much. Let's start with your luckiest penny. And I know that's going to circle into what we actually talked about luckiest penny back in episode 24, having to do with worth and value and maybe the difference between self-esteem and self-worth.
I'd love to tell you about that because most people think that self-worth and self-esteem is the same. And I learned the hard way, it is not. Self-esteem is when you do something really fantastic and you feel really good about yourself. But the only thing is that to keep self-esteem, you have to keep on doing amazing things. So let's say, Heather, that you're not having such a great time and things are a little bit rocky. It's a little bit hard to have self-esteem when you can't prove your worth. However, self-worth is something that you know that you're worthy, you know who you are, and you show up as that. It's completely different. So to give you an example, when I was at Citibank, I had been the director of development, 19 branches. And oh my gosh, Heather, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but I thought I was all that. I never smiled. I had the suit and I needed to prove something. I needed to prove something, not necessarily to myself, but all the kids who told me that I would never amount to anything because I was too sensitive and too sweet. And so I was like, okay, I am going to be one tough businesswoman. I am going to be a crackerjack and I'll show them. And then I got sick. And where did that self-esteem go? It went down like a ship with me.
Right.
And then I learned that my self-worth was nil. There was nothing, there was no foundation underneath the self-esteem. And that, so that was like a big revelation. And I realized that self-worth comes from really believing in who you are, being unique, being who you are, not trying to be like a copy of somebody else.
So in that moment when you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go out in the world, you're probably much younger, and the thought of what your career is, I'm going to go get them. And if you had other people before you saying, you're too this or too that, so that fed that corporate structure. But was that your authentic self? Did your getting sick moment actually bring you to your knees? And we've talked about this in so many different iterations on the show with people who are still their corporate selves, but they've changed it because it's their authentic self, where we're no longer sick or losing sleep or any of these things.
Heather, I truly think that probably was my saving grace. It didn't feel like that at the time, trust me.
Right. Yeah.
Everything was going wrong. However,
the crap storms don't feel good at the time. And believe me, we've all had a few, yes.
Yes, many. But I was definitely not being my authentic self. Right. I thought I was. That's the ironic part. I thought I was being really authentic, and I was being authentic in "I'll show you, Bill." That was definitely authentic. But as far as who I was, I think might have even mentioned this on the last show. But when I was a little kid, I was like Shirley Temple. I was Skip. I believed in musicals. I believed that people were all good. I wanted to be everybody's best friend. And honest to God, Heather, I couldn't understand for the life of me why nobody wanted to be my friend. I actually was kind of lonely. So that corporate thing was like, in a weird way, it was an attempt to get love, an
Mhm.
attempt to get friendship, an attempt to be admired. And yet the me that was me was hidden way deep inside. And when I did crash and I did get sick, there was no alternative but to let your walls down. You don't have a choice.
Right. Right. Oh my goodness. So I love the Shirley Temple, and I think did you watch Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers movies by any chance? Just because that was always my wheelhouse. Those old musicals. Same thing. Of it wasn't escape. It was for the fun and the dancing and the creativity. Now that might segue perfectly because you've been in a theater and art realm. So you went from corporate. You had your on your knees moment and beyond, and then the creativity started flowing.
Actually, I had been doing shows. My mother, okay, so this is something nobody knows, Heather. You want to go?
Sure.
Okay. So my mother, Judith Gindi, she started the first talent agency or the party agency, entertainment agency in Miami, in Coral Gables.
Oh, wow.
One of the first. And the way that she started was with my brother, because my brother had been a magician, still is actually. But he
Nice.
had been a magician at the time. And so at first she was just like a stage mom taking him around. And I was like, Mom, man, you're really good at this. You should have other talent. So she started getting other talent. But you know what she did? She had lookalikes. So she had Madonna lookalikes, and she had all these lookalikes. And it was really funny because my father had an insurance company, and here would be all these people coming in and singing and dancing like "I'm a virgin" for the very first time. And I'm sure my dad was like, "What is going?" Or his clients were like, "What is going on in that office?" But anyways, with that, I was able to use my creativity right from the get go to do shows using my mom's talent. So, this is something that had been old hat for me. I used to do like murder mystery weekends, but nothing like you've ever seen. We literally had people like jumping. Well, not they weren't jumping, but it looked like they were jumping from the top of a hotel down with the watermelon splatting. So it looked like I mean, just crazy stuff. Um, so yeah, then when I did get to my knees, Heather, that is when it was a different kind of entertainment, because now I needed meaning. Now it wasn't just something that was fancy and fun and people would go, ooh, ah, that's really cool. Now it was something that needed to matter because I felt like I didn't matter.
So lead us then from there to how that happened, and you get into your artwork, which you did talk some on the previous show. So your painting and your books and how that all evolved, because then I want to hear about your different projects and tell us more about your luckiest penny. And we've also, last time we talked, you were coming out with your book If Only, and that I'll just go ahead and say that is a masterpiece, and it's such a masterpiece of the heart, and it's so perfect for right now. It was so perfect that I needed to read it out loud and have that as its own show at the turn of this new year. So in the Christmas holiday time, I read If Only. And so I think these two storylines are these amazing blends of not only what is possible, but really what is possible and what's happening right now for people who might be not feeling so great about themselves, about the world around them. You mentioned, I think we share a bit of, we didn't necessarily grow up feeling a sense of faith. And if we don't feel that there is faith, then how do you trust humanity and all these wild things? So let's take it from there in this amazing blend of your storybooks.
Okay, hold on, Heather. Hold on,
I
everybody
know.
listening. We're going to take a little ride. So, when I got sick after Citibank, I was literally in bed for 3 years. And I had been misdiagnosed from doctors, and they told me everything from I had Lou Gehrig's, I had MS, it was all in my head. Every single doctor told me something different. And yet the pain and the agony, I mean, I couldn't even stand up, and I was like, what is going on? But the most painful thing, and I really want to share this for anybody who might be going through this right now,
Mm-hmm.
nobody believed me, even in my family, after a while. And the reason why is because no doctor agreed.
Right.
Everybody was saying something different. It was so bad, Heather. I would tell David, please, could we go to the hospital parking lot and wait there? Because if I die, I want to at least be able to get into the hospital. It was like that.
And David's your husband?
David's my husband, and he's a
Yeah.
lawyer. So of course he's like, he's very pragmatic, and it's like
Yeah.
I marry this beautiful woman who's vibrant and dynamic, and now she's in bed and she can't even get up. So and every doctor is saying something different.
Right.
So while I was there, I felt like I had no one. Not my family, not my kids, not just no one. Even though my family is loving, it's just sometimes people that are close to you, if they don't have a rational reason, they can't plug into anything. And so you're kind of like the person saying, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. So in that loneliness and in that relationship with just God, I
Mm-hmm.
needed a hero. I needed a hero really badly. And the hero ended up being a penny. The reason that the hero was a penny is because one day I don't even know, it was so long ago, it's, kind of random. You're looking at, I don't know if it was in the paper or on TV, but I see that there was a penny at the time that could be worth $250,000. And it was like, I don't know if it was like a God wink. I don't know what happened, but it was almost like if a penny, something that people wouldn't even pick up on the ground, could be worth that much.
Mm-hmm.
And what am I worth? Is it possible? Is it possible, even though I had lost sight of myself, that I am worth something? So that's where the creativity started to just gel. Now, remember, it took a long time to figure out what had been wrong, and I will share what that was. But at the time, it was like, then I leaned into the creativity, all the experience that I've ever had when it came to working on a $26 million pavilion with Disney and Universal consultants for Kia Motors, and director of development for Citibank, and being a kid and doing, musicals and things as long as I can remember. It was like, oh, purpose, download, purpose. Maybe, just maybe, I can share with kids how much they're worth through the eyes of two pennies. It made sense to me, because one penny would be like, and he ends up to be Alistair, but he would be like, I have never been touched. I am so superior to you because you are tarnished and you have had a life that's a little bit messy, and I don't do messy. And then there's Henry. And Henry, oh my gosh, Henry is the best of me. He's the part that's been in the garbage can like I have. He's been on the streets alone like I have. He's been somebody's lucky penny. Yes, every once in a while somebody will say, hey, you're kind of cool. And he's been in a washing machine. And he's been in a bank along with other pennies, realizing that they all come together. And then it's what happens next because they're at an auction about to find out how much they're worth and why. It's what happens next that's the twist. It's the thing that really gets people to the, to the heart. So I wrote the book. And here's the funniest part, Heather. This is the part I kind of go, gosh, God, you really have a sense of humor with me. I'm not a composer, and I am certainly not a lyricist. But guess what? I am a composer, and I am a lyricist because it just, somehow these things just download. And it's almost comical because I'll go to a musician and I'll hum the song, and then they transpose it, and I will, share the lyrics, and it's good. It's really, really good.
So you have this, I have a copy that you beautifully wrote a lovely inscription for me. And so it went from book, and now it sounds like it went from a book story into song. Is that right?
Oh, it was a musical. It was
A musical.
and I'll go back to that in a minute. But let me share what had transpired, what I found out, and then I'll tell you about the musical that I was so passionate about for so many years. So after that, it turned out that I had been hemorrhaging, but I had gone to a gynecologist, and they had said, "Oh, you just have heavy periods." I knew it was much more than heavy period.
So this goes back to the medical mystery,
the
right?
medical mystery, correct?
The medical mystery.
The medical mystery that had gone on for 3 years. I finally end up with a doctor who checks my iron, and he said, "Deborah, your iron is a 3." Well, it was like between a 7 and a 3, depending on when he took it. He said, "You should have been dead. Your iron needs to be a 15. Most people are able to survive." That's why I couldn't get around. That's why I couldn't get up. That's why I was in bed for so long. That's why I was disbelieved, because I looked okay, but I had nothing. I had no lifeblood literally in me. It was all just coming out. And maybe it was because I wasn't being authentic. Maybe it was a redirection. I don't know. But as soon as I got a hysterectomy, my strength came back. And I think, at least for my husband, maybe not everybody, but my husband became all of a sudden Saint David. And like ever since then, ever since he saw what I went through with nobody believing, he's been by my side, because he knows that I don't just say things to say things. They're usually very, very true. And then
so because you kept saying this isn't it, something else is wrong, because you knew your body, you knew what was going on, and you were looking to all these professionals. Of course, I would go, "Why didn't everybody check your iron levels?" But that's a story for another day. But how beautiful that your husband could then go, "Oh, I see you, I hear you, and I didn't understand at that moment before."
He's had a major spiritual transformation. We both have. We both have been on quite the journey, because this has happened a bunch of times. But anyways, that was that time. So I was equipped, Heather. I was equipped to get back in and do this musical. I had the music. I went to a composer. I mean, when I say composer, musical arranger. I had the lyrics, and I started doing shows. We did shows in Miami. We did shows in New York. Oh my gosh, Heather, you have no idea what it felt like to see the singing and the dancing and the pageantry. People were loving it. The parents, the teachers, the grandparents, the kids. We would do it a lot for autistic kids, special needs kids, just to show them what they were worth through this story. And it was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal experience for me. And it made me so very happy until COVID hit. And when COVID hit, then I had a lot of things have happened in the past with me in that direction. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you want me to go to some of the other aspects of the books, or would you rather have me stay on the tangent of the luckiest penny?
Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and keep rolling, all pun intended, because pennies we put in a nice roll, because we're all in this together. This is the beautiful part, because we'll make mention still of the other books, because again, all of your characters are amazing in that they are creative, they're fun, they go through problems or they think they have problems, and then they find their ways, they have their community, they find their voices. But sticking with Luckiest Penny, let's see how, because you're right, I'll call it the 2020. The 2020, which was now 4 years ago, put everybody at a dead stop. And so many things have birthed from that. New babies were born from there, and people have died, and all the different things have happened. And so certain projects may have been a pause. And now, but going back to your penny, it's a rebirth. So let's talk about the rebirthing of Luckiest Penny and all the pennies that, pennies from heaven, pennies from the world, because we're going to talk about the kiddos. I think this has been, for me personally, and a lot of the people that we have on the show, this is a new day to understand. Not only we understand all of our differences and that worth and self-esteem and everything, but we're here for the kids. Yes. And many of the kids are having a hard time, and teenagers. So if this new little passion project is morphing into now re-engaging for the kids in a global way, I do want to keep rolling with the pennies.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. But I will say one thing about If Only. Yeah. You did mention it, and then I'll go back to the pennies.
Because this is If Only with the little snowflake.
Yes.
Right.
I thought If Only was it, Heather. I thought that was it. I thought after COVID, okay, I'll do that. I'll inspire adults. It will make a difference. But my mom had always told me, Deborah, it's the luckiest penny. It is the luckiest penny is you. That's what you need to do. And she passed, a while ago. And my illustrator, Ernie Sakula, he had been like in his 80s when I hired. He had worked for RCA, doing graphics. He was brilliant. And he also believed in me. And he also felt like an angel. So I thought it was If Only. And yet another health issue happened 4 years ago. And then again with If Only. And once again, I'm in bed. It seems like we're redirect every time, redirect. But this time I was thinking, I was like praying all the time, God, I don't understand. And I think a lot of people might feel this way. So please really hear me. I was once again on my knees, just holding on for dear life.
And this is more recently. This is
very recently.
Within this year, right?
Yes.
Right.
Very recently.
And we've all had our bops on the head, and
yes.
Right. Yes. So yes, right.
Yes. I was on a track with If Only. I was like, I was there, and it was happening.
And then the redirect.
Yeah, the redirect. Yeah. It's just happening.
Yeah. Right.
But I was feeling as though, and like I said, I think a lot of people feel this. I was questioning God, saying, but I can help. I can do something. I have the passion. I have the creativity. I have the will. Why would you put me on the sidelines? Why would you take me out? I just, even to this day, I don't know if, it's a little personal, but I don't know if I'm going to make it to the next day. People look at me now and they go, oh, you look great, but there's still stuff happening. But I wanted to, oh gosh, it makes me tear up a little bit. I really wanted to make a difference because I know what it feels like. I know what the kid, I'm watching these kids. Okay, let me just stop there for a second and go to the adults. There's so much division. There's division in race. There's division in politics. There's division in ideology. There's division in health. Everybody has their opinion, and everybody's entitled. I honor every opinion, but we're fighting against each other, and the kids are seeing this. Right. There is a crisis in empathy. It's off the charts. Our kids are committing suicide. They're hurting. And, maybe it's because I want to go back and save the little girl that's in me. Maybe that's why. I just feel like it's an imperative. This doesn't feel like, oh, yeah, this is nice, and I'm going to do this little thing. No, it feels like I want to galvanize the world with me and say, please help me, stand by me. Let's do this. Because I saw how the Luckiest Penny worked. It's not just me saying, oh, I want to do a nice show musical. It's me saying it worked. I saw it with my own eyes. The kids were singing, and when you sing a positive message, subconsciously you're saying the same thing over and over and over again. It's very, very powerful. And the talk back, when we were able to, after the show, say, well, who's worth more, Henry or Alistair, and why? And it was almost like an art link letter for self-worth, if you will. The kids were saying brilliant. I mean, the parents were laughing and crying. So because of that, and because I was down for the count again, I just would imagine every night, I would imagine all these children all over the world being touched by the luckiest penny, because I know, my dad once told me I was a messenger. My mom told me that the luckiest penny is the thing. And here's the ironic thing. I always wanted to do Paisley or the big, pretty musicals. Even me was like, who's going to really want the penny? It's a penny, for goodness sake. But now I've come to realize that that's who I am. I'm that person somebody might walk by because I'm not like them. I'm not polished enough. Who knows what it might be. But the wonderful thing is that this time around, and this health issue, which seems to happen to me, something broke. It broke me into a million pieces. And I truly believe that God put me back together again to be me. And I'm finally me. I really, really feel that. And with that, I know that the luckiest penny will make a difference. So here's what we're doing. We are making an app, Heather. And
Nice.
App, it is like a whole world, a whole entire world where the kids are going to learn about self-worth, but they're not going to know it. In fact, my favorite thing to say is like, how parents, like, they put broccoli and brownies to hide.
That's right.
to hide the broccoli. Well, I am clever enough to hide self-worth in something very, very entertaining because there's a lot of pieces that are going to be, helpful. And this app, the kids are going to be able to play and sing and dance and learn and interact with each other. And we're actually coming up with things that have a global, not a local, a global implication. And the craziest part of all, the talent that has been surrounding me is off the charts. Whether it be the composer that I did my little humming to, or the actors, or the sound people. I mean, my board of advisors, which I call my priceless pennies. I mean, they are rock stars, and I'm like, wow, this little penny has some legs. And it's, maybe it's because, I don't think it's because of me. That would be nice, but I think it's because I'm giving everybody the ability to see through my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That we can do something together, not me alone, all of us, all of the parents, all the grandparents, everybody who cares about the next generation. And you know what I think?
What do you think?
I think that we can have the kids lead the way.
Yes. Yes.
I think they can be the light in this dark storm. I think they can show kindness, and we're going to go, oh, wait a minute. That's what I think. And that's why I'm so passionate and, potentially unstoppable. I have no problem asking anybody, hey, you got $1 million? I want to create a Pixar for self-worth. Are you in?
Perfect. But see, this is now, you're already, people have flocked, your penny angels have already flocked to you, so that you're this beautiful conduit of creation, really. And it is bigger than you. I know this show is bigger than me. So we're here as messengers in the most humblest of ways, actually. It might seem loud and proud, but truly it's from this core of love, right?
Heather, you're so right. I give God all the glory. There's absolutely no way that the coincidences are happening. There's
Right.
no way that new songs could be just like, just in there. I almost think that I have my mom, Ernie. I like have a band of angels up there who are saying, "Okay, Deborah, now we can let you fly. You had to go through all these things because now when you speak, you're going to speak with such passion and you're going to speak with such understanding." And the other part is I could have never told anybody how rough things were. I was ashamed. I was
Right.
afraid to say that. And now it's like, you want to hear? Okay.
Well, this is so beautiful. That's how it then swirls right back in to with the snowflake and her journey of being and becoming and feeling lost and all of these things. So this is where it is just coming in and through you. Then you have your perfectly Paisley and the different characters there. So this is just the beauty of your true self. And so now, of course, if only had to come through first to then make this next iteration of the luckiest penny roll out. I don't know why I keep saying that,
No
but
pun intended. No, you're having
it's
fun with it.
rolling
Go with it. Go with
because
it.
you're
Go
on a
with
roll.
it. No,
Because
you
you're on
want
a
to go.
roll. But and because now you can talk about what is your penny initiative, and it could be globally, it'll be a coin, whatever coin in somebody else's country. But when we here in the United States, and this number 90 is going to air just at the 4th of July weekend. And so it's kind of about Independence Day and the whole thing within this country. God bless whatever all the history is in all the different sides, but truly it was about becoming our sovereign selves, which is what the pennies are. And you talk about Abraham Lincoln in the story and what is our authentic truth and et cetera, et cetera. So there's all these layers of metaphors. And getting back to the roll, that's the fun part. So if you collect pennies, you kind of put them in a little roll and can take them to the bank. That might be a little old school, and I know the kids that are young now, we won't necessarily have pennies in the same way. It'll be crypto, it'll be different things, different iterations. So this is still an amazing, tangible item that can be very fun. So talk about what your pennies are doing and what it is that it's more than just an app and games. You have so many different layers of ideas of how you're bringing children to the forefront and their families making it fun.
Well, and that was the thing that I didn't understand. I was kind of like what you just said. I was like, oh, it's just an app. No, an app
No.
is a world. An app, you can have things for parents. Like one of the things that I'm going to have for parents is self-worth tips. I mean, there's so many things planned in that app. It's going to blow people's minds. I truly believe. And it's funny too, because I'm talking to some very sophisticated app people who have been doing this for a while. And I think I'm even overwhelming them like, well, really? But I guess it's my Disney background, right? It's my Disney
Where
entertainment background.
everything
I know what's possible.
and there is no really. Right. Everything is possible.
Exactly.
Everything is possible.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
And of course, if you have magicians in your family, there's that too.
Well, and the funny thing is that
you spread a little Tinkerbell magic, and this is perfect. Of course, there is no sky, there is no limit.
Right. No, and it's funny because my brother, he grew up to run fun camps, and fun camps has everything from magic camp to dinosaur camp to star camp I mean, he has like this whole thing, and he's a collector. He has a one-of-a-kind collecting company that works with all kinds of things like Abraham Lincoln's signature. Just really, my family is very interesting. Oh, and that's the part I forgot to tell you that I told you was kind of a secret. So my mom, she looks like Queen Elizabeth. She looked just like her. So she had all these lookalikes, right? So I'm like,
Right.
Mom, you should go out. They had a contest for her, Queen Elizabeth. And so I'm like, you should go out for it. You'll win. She did. She won. And she ended up in England, but going to England. But the only thing is, then after that, Heather, she took her job very, very seriously. And she would be like this. She would be like, we'd go out for dinner. She'd be like this. She'd have her little crowd. I'd be like, you've got to be kidding me, Mom. What kind of her
Um,
family have I gotten myself into? So, anyways,
that's pretty funny.
it
That's
is
pretty
pretty,
funny.
it is pretty
So,
funny.
Deborah, what else would you like to share for now? And oh, well, I'm looking at a note that I took from our previous episode. We were talking about leaning into love, and it sounds like this whole project not only has it just again from perhaps a bedside or whatever the moment is, it's come in and downloaded through you. It's the inspiration you've been inspired, but now there's this lean in and the leaning in love, and maybe that's where we'll start to kind of round things out. Is where would you like people to find you, be part of this journey? Is there something you need as we're all leaning in towards love in this time frame?
Yes. Oh, thank you, Heather. I really appreciate that. Yes, this is a imperative call to every parent, grandparent, teacher, anybody that's out there. Find me and let's make this happen. And it's really, really not because of me. It's really, really because of the children. I do think that this is something that's going to be magical. And it is, like Heather, you're right. It is built from love, because when you see some people, some people look at the show. I don't. I turn around and I look at the audience.
Right,
That's my show.
right,
That's
right,
my show.
right,
When they are singing and they are smiling and they
right.
are learning, and there's like a listening, there's a moment of connection. That's where the true magic is. And as far as the singing and songs and the global implications, just watch,
Yeah.
or be part of it. I invite you to be part of it so that you can actually have input and tell me, hey, Deborah, what I think is this. I listen very, very carefully to what everybody's input is, because this isn't, they say it takes a village.
Right.
Well, in this instance, it takes the world. It
Yep.
takes the world to turn around what's happening to our kids. And I do think that if they have self-worth and know that they're good without having to prove anything, without having to do anything to show that they're worthy, then maybe we can turn this boat around and we can feel like that our values are being honored. Everybody can find me at www.selfworthinitiative.net. And I also have the Luckiest Penny. The website isn't up yet because we're trying to make everything kid friendly, but it will be www.theluckiestpenny.com. And on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you want. You just look up Deborah Weed, reach out, tell me you've got some ideas, or you want to either volunteer, or for corporations. This is
Mhm.
like a really smart move for a goodwill cause, because, well, there's so many reasons. When they see what's actually in the app, when everybody sees what's in the app and they get as excited as I am, I think that people will be flocking to be part of something that looks so insignificant and yet could be worth $1 million.
There you go. Well, and then this gets right back into the actual penny drive, right? That's part of the different visions, right?
That's my favorite one. That's absolutely my favorite one. I know that there's so many children out there all over the world who are doing penny drives, and I've been watching these videos of these kids and why they do it and how significant it is to them, because they feel helpless. And
Mhm.
just to be able to collect something for somebody else, oh my gosh, that makes a difference. So I visualize that one day all these kids will be singing a song that was just created that I showed you, Heather. Did you like
We had, I did. It's beautiful. And I hear the harmony around the world. I
it? Right,
do. I
right.
do.
And the
We
lyrics,
can't share it here yet.
not
This is
yet,
literally
not
hot
yet,
hot off
not
of the.
yet.
That's right, but it's a
But
good one.
yeah, there's so much to be revealed.
Yep.
And I know that Heather, I know for a fact that you're going to be along for the entire ride because you are so precious. You're such a good interviewer. You really listen to people and you've got a heart of gold. And I can't thank you enough for that.
Thank you, Deborah. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm happy that a whole nother iteration is being sprouted and birthed, and that we all get to come along for the ride. Thanks. And thank you for listening, everybody. Please be sure to like, review, and share this show and spread the good word about lasting conversations. This is Lasting Conversations. We get to the heart of everything.